So today I wanted to share with you 25 plus of some of my favorite home decor DIYs that you could do. A lot of these are easy, but let's jump right into it. Okay, so for this first one, this is a basket that I do love. I did it with macrame cord. I got mine from Amazon. It was a large roll that you can do many projects with. And then I'm using a basket that I had from Target. I didn't want to use the gold anymore, so I wanted to do something more cozy, more, textured with it. So I used a macrame cord. With this is also great because I didn't glue anything down. So if I wanted to, I can take out all my hard work and go back to the original basket. But this is just going to be a bunch of playing around. I didn't use any specific pattern or weaving thing or anything like that. I just played around with it until I got a design that I liked, just weaving in and out. I noticed that it was making these cute little triangle shapes. I didn't want to do the same thing all the way. So once I got to one direction, I switched around and went another direction, but it was just a bunch of playing around, weaving in and out, looping over and under and all type of different things just to cover up as much of the metal as I could. And you can see it came out so nice. It did take a while because, like I said, I didn't have a set direction with it. I just did it until it came out the way I wanted to. Took long pieces of the cord and just cut them and then just tied them together as I came to an end. And then when I got to the top, I braided some cord together so that I can wrap it around. And then I also used that braiding detail to cover up where there were gaps around the macrame design that I did do. So this is something that you can customize for your own. You don't have to, have a bunch of skill, a bunch of talent to do this. It's something simple that anyone can do. And I feel like it really gives it that textured look and that custom type piece. And I love this piece to this day still. Okay, now for this next one is a dupe. I did a lot of dupes in these home decor DIYs too. But in this one, it was a dupe. It was a CB2. We love CB2, but sometimes it can be a little pricey. And it was like over $100 for a sculptural piece. So I was like, we could make that. It is kind of just like a paper mache type thing, but I'm just taking paper strips and plaster of Paris, mixing it to the right consistency that I like not too milky, but not too thick. And then just really wrapping a piece around. I took a plastic bag, put it around a bowl because that was the shape I want, but you don't even have to use an actual bowl, but just anything. And you want to make sure that it's not going to stick. You can see the plaster of Paris doesn't stick to the bag. It sticks to the paper, but it doesn't stick to the bag. That's why I covered the bowl with the bag so that it'd be easy to remove it once I was done and got the shape that I wanted. And then you can see I'm just taking off the extra little pieces that are falling off. And then I did a second piece, wrapping it through so that it looks like one piece, so I don't have to link it up after the fact. Let that dry. Once it dried, then you can sand down any rough patches that you might have, or you can leave it like that for a real natural type look. But I did sand it down just a little bit, just to give it a little bit of smoothness. And then you can go back in and you can paint it whatever color you want. You can paint the rings different colors. You can paint them the same color, but you can do it how you want. A matte color to me works nice. And this is how it turned out. Okay, now for this piece, like I say, I like a lot of little pieces that you can just put around for decor. This one I used items from the Dollar Tree to make. The Dollar Tree is always great for supplies, for making your own little modern home decor. This one I played around with the base, whether I wanted the hula bra pieces or the little bowls from the Dollar Tree. I got the ring from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just playing around to see which one I want to use. I used a cardboard tube at the top. At the end of this, I did wind up using double the pieces. So like I said, you just play around with it, and this is how it came out. I could have also put another tube on the other side. Then I painted it, and then after that was dry, I came back and used a stone paint also to give it that stone texture. Okay, so now for this piece, another simple one, but they were charging like over $100 from it from CV2. This one I just took a Dollar Tree vase, bowl, whatever you might want to call it, but they have them in different sizes, so you can do this. I used paint. You can use spray paint too. I would use a matte spray paint if I was going to do it with spray paint, because the piece that we're trying to dupe doesn't have that, glossy look to it. But I used the paint, and then you're just going to draw on your design. So this one is real simple. You can do it like the ones in the picture where it kind of looked like it was dipped in the top. You can do it like I did it, but it doesn't have to be exact when it was a dupe, just like something you use for inspiration, or you could do it exactly like it. But I didn't even have a piece that was the same shape as the one from CV2. So I just made it my own, and I loved how it turned out. The paint was a little bit glossier than the other paint because I used two different types of paint, but I still love the way that it turned out. Now for this one shows you that when you're doing home decor pieces, or when you're doing dupes, or when you're using something as inspiration, you can change it up midstream if you don't like the way that it goes. But this is a tube that we had bought for the fair, and it was supposed to be a toy, but it was too short. She likes to go through long tubes, and then so I just used it for this project. But use that, put a base on the bottom using a piece of cardboard, and then just to fill in the gap there, I'm just using Dollar Tree plaster that they have. I was going to go for a marble look, but I didn't like the way that it was coming out, so I decided to change it up. So again, I'm using the plaster of Paris, mixing it to the directions to have like a nice consistency, like I said, not too thick. And then before it dried, I took a paper towel and kind of gave it like a little more texture, because with the plaster you can smooth it out while it's still wet, or you can, go even deeper with the texture, and that's what I did. And then I'm just taking and mixing paints because I wanted to have kind of an antique like look to it. So I'm mixing a little bit of brown, a little bit of white from the Dollar Tree. I use these paints. And then I'm just going to build on with the paint. So then I have this one. It's like a milk chocolate color that I made. And once that was all done, then I went back with the white to kind of even mute it down a little more, but not going over the whole thing, because I wanted the pieces of brown to kind of pop out. And like I said, try to give it that antique like look. And some people do that with the dirt, the different things, but this was just real easy and simple, and it was things that I had on hand. Once that dried, then I came in with the brown by itself and just did it on the top and the bottom, like I said, to add some of that look to it. And then, because I wanted to give that RH feel, I stuffed it with newspaper and put Dollar Tree moss on the top so that it looked like a big vessel planner type thing. And I love the way this one turned out too. Okay, now on to this one. This one is an Ikea, what you want to call an Ikea hack, an Ikea Dollar Tree hack mixed together. I don't know. But it was 2 garbage cans that you get from Ikea, and they are rather cheap. And you can use these in so many different ways besides just being garbage cans. That's the great thing about Ikea products. And I'm just going to take 2 and I'm going to put them together. I did the edge of the can with the gold so that it would have a look, because the plate that I'm using from the Dollar Tree is not going to cover the top. So I wanted it to have that little gold detail. But you glue these together, wait it so that it dries together real nice. And then I just used some clothesline rope that I got from like a dollar store, not the Dollar Tree, but like a dollar store. So it was rather cheap. I have 2 of them there. And then I'm just going to hot glue around the rope all the way from the base all the way up to the top. Once you end with one, and you can see one lasted for one bottom of the garbage can, and then I use the other one for the top portion of it. I'm just buttoning them together, and then once that was done, I put in the Dollar Tree plate. And like I said, it fit perfectly inside. You have to make sure you line it up real nice so that it doesn't slip through, but it fit perfectly inside. Let that dry, and then you have a nice little side table. Okay, now for this one. This one I love to do with glass. It is so simple, so easy. It's a water vinegar mix that you'll make. So it's just white vinegar and water. You mix it together and you'll get this like glass type effect where it gives me, to me, like a little antique type vibe. So what you're going to do is you're going to paint whatever glass item that you have, whatever color that you want it to be. It wasn't too perfect with the paint job because, like I said, I knew I was going to be layering this. And then before it dries, you're going to hit it with the water vinegar mix. You can be as heavy-handed with it or light-handed with it as you want, but I just hit it with that. Let that dry, and you can see, I don't know if you can really see, but it's bubbling. So it has that bubble look to it, like that distress type look to it. And then I hit it, you can see it better when the gold goes on, hit it with the gold and then did it again. So like I said, based on how heavy you go with it, how light you go with it, is how it's going to turn out. You can test it with a sample piece and see how you like it. Okay, so now for this one is just something that you can just reuse old items that you might have in your house. I had this box that I was putting books in my living room to just, hide them away. And then I have another piece too that I'll show you. It's just a candy box, like a plastic candy box that I had that I was putting the little remotes in. So first I'm just using the baking soda and paint mixture, which is real simple and real easy. You just mix it together until you get a consistency that you want. You can do it thick, you can do it thin, but it gives it kind of like a textured look. So I covered the whole box. I covered the candy box with it. Let that dry, and then you can add little embellishments if you want. I put a button on the smaller box, and then on the bigger box you can go in if you want and put like a handle or something and give it that real nice high-end look. And then once you're done doing all that, you'll have nice little storage boxes out of something that you might have thrown away. Okay, so now for this one. Okay, so you seen it earlier. I did it. This is like a long time has passed in the real world, but I wanted to change up because I had so many black and white pieces on my shelves. So I took that same bowl from the Dollar Tree and I'm just going to give it like a different look. I saw this little like plug stopper thing at the Dollar Tree and I thought it would be cute. So I painted the bowl one solid color, took this adhesive cork paper that I got from the Dollar Tree also, and then I'm just going to wrap it around that little like cork stopper piece till it's covered. If you wrap it on the angle, you'll get better coverage than if you do it straight on, because it'll kind of, like bubble and stuff if you do it the other way. Then I put the top piece on it. I tried to make sure they were as neat as possible, cutting around the edges. And then just to make sure it stayed nice, once I got everything laid out the way that I wanted to, trimmed all the stuff away, I just put a little hot glue on it just to make sure that it stuck, and then waited for the bowl piece to dry, put them together, and I think it came out super cute, super simple. Okay, so now for this piece. This piece, I wanted to show you that your home decor does not have to be out of things that you buy from the Dollar Tree, your trash to treasure, flips, different things like that you might get from the thrift store or something like that. It doesn't have to be home decor that you're actually flipping. This shirt, I just bought it from the thrift store because I thought that piece on it was so cute, and then I was like, oh, let's make it into a piece of home decor. You see all these beaded type pieces, especially at places like Restoration Hardware and stuff. So I just took this little piece from the Dollar Tree, painted it a solid color, and then put that on. You can even do this like a half circle, and then it would be a bigger, chunkier piece. If you did it like a half circle, you would just have to cut around the wood so that it supported it a little different. But to make it real simple, I just did it like this, and it fit perfect too. The way that the neckline was, it went perfectly around this little ring and made a cute little decor piece to put on my shelf. Okay, so now for this one, another Dollar Tree. Before, Dollar Tree had these pieces of leather that you can get. They're kind of hard to find now, but you can always find crafting leather on places like Amazon. You can find them at your local craft store, things like that. But I had got these from the Dollar Tree along with the vase from the Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to make a leather vase. So I just took the bottom piece, lined it up the way I wanted to, trimmed it, and then butted up the top piece with it real nice. Because the line was nice and clean from the original pieces, it lined up really nice. And then I cut off some of the excess from the top, but then just shoved it into the top, glued it down so that it wasn't bubbly when you looked at it from, straight on. And that was it. This was so simple, but it gave a nice effect. So now for this one, another Dollar Tree product. If you don't know, I love the Dollar Tree. So these are the straw hats that they have around this time of year right now. And I just took take one. I can't remember. But anyway, you unravel the straw hat. It's really easy to unravel it. And I'm just taking it and putting it around a bowl from the Dollar Tree. And you're just going to kind of overlap them a little bit so it looks like it's a solid piece, If you didn't, you would have the big gaps in the middle. So you just overlap it just a little bit, hot glued it all the way to the bottom so that you didn't see it. So as far as, your eye will see, you're going to glue it all the way down there. And then once that was done, then you're just going to flip it over, and you can do the inside too. You can take one piece of the straw type material and you can fold it over and glue it down. You have to do that in little sections because, you need time for the glue to dry, for it to stick on. And then you can fill the bowl with something. I filled mine with moss, again, from the Dollar Tree. Okay, so now another one. This is part Dollar Tree, part upcycling things that I have around the house. I had these cardboard tubes, but you can also use something different. You don't have to because, you might not have these cardboard tubes. Took some bowls from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just making like tall pillars. So you can use them as candle stands, you can use them to hold different things, but it's just, you know, those tall pillars are something that people like to have. So you can also glam these up too if you wanted to. But I'm just taking, again, the bowls from the Dollar Tree and these little saucer plates from the Dollar Tree, putting them on top, hot gluing everything. If you wanted to, for the gap along the bottom, you can also fill that in with some plaster from the Dollar Tree. But I just left it. It looked fine when it was done. And then I spray painted it with just a coat of white and then came back with the stone paint to give it that texture look. And this is how it turned out. Okay, so this one is another Dollar Tree upcycle type thing. Again, another cardboard tube that I have. I have a lot of these cardboard tubes, but you don't have to use a cardboard tube. You can use a glass vase. You can use so many different things. But I'm just taking the skewer sticks from the Dollar Tree, and they come a lot in the pack, so you don't need a lot to do this. And then I'm just kind of staggering them. So I'm hot gluing them, putting 2 to one side, and then coming down a little bit, putting a few more. But you can do this in so many different ways. If you don't want to have to do the last step that I did, you just be a little less heavy with the glue. Because if you don't see the glue, I think it turned out great, but I was kind of heavy-handed with my glue, so I wound up having to cover it up. But you're going to cut the bottom, you're going to sand it off so that it's nice and smooth. I stained the pieces that were there, and then I came back in with the skewers and just filled in the gaps on the top. And like I said, if you weren't as heavy with the glue as I was, you can just leave it like that and it just looks like a great two-tone wood piece. But I was kind of heavy-handed, so I covered up where I had all the glue chunks with, again, the Dollar Tree leather that I did have. This one is my favorite, and I might put it in every video. I don't know. This one is so simple and so easy, but it just gives you that great big chunky effect. I took these Dollar Tree rings and I cut open one to link them together. So you just cut it open, you just glue it back together once you're done linking them all together. And then I use Dollar Tree beads. You don't have to use Dollar Tree beads to do this. You can do this and do like the stone spray paint that I used. You can do texture. You can play around with this and make this your own. It is so easy, so simple. And I just, like I said, I love this piece. Wrap the Dollar Tree beads that I used all around. She does not help in any kind of way, but she loves to be there when I DIY. Once I was done with that, I spray painted it, and this is how it turned out. Okay, so now for this one. So simple, so easy. I have these Dollar Tree boxes. I haven't seen these in a while, but you can use any type of box from the Dollar Tree. You can even upcycle old boxes that you might have. But I had these 2 from the Dollar Tree, and I saw these at Restoration Hardware, and I said, let's make that. Use this metallic type hammered spray paint, and so simple, so easy. Let it dry and put them on my shelf. Okay, so now for this one, if you're looking for like a boho type wall art or something like that, I think this one is so fun and so easy to do, and it's rather inexpensive. But if you go on Etsy or someplace like that, something like this might run you a lot of money, or even in a store like, say, Anthropology or CB2 or something like that. But these type wall decor pieces can run you a lot. So I just took yarn that I had around the house, colors that I felt went together. If you want, you can steam your yarn, something like that. You can hang it up. Make sure it's nice and straight, because, you know, when it comes off the ball, it will be kind of wavy. But you're just going to measure out how long you want your pieces, and you're going to need it double of what you want your pieces, because it's going to be folded over. So take that into mind. And I just did several sections till I filled up these sticks. You can use any stick. I had that stick. I wound up changing the stick in the end, but you're just going to fold your pieces in half and tie a knot. It's just that simple. But once you get a few good strings together, so you want it to do several sections, because you're going to then do another step with the contrasting yarn that you have picked. So once you have all your little sections together, you can cut a nice long piece of the other contrasting yarn and just wrap it around. So you're going to tie a knot where you want it to start, and then just wrap it around, making sure that you're straightening out the yarn underneath so that you don't have any issues. You don't want to wrap super tight, because then it'll get that tight waviness, but you do want to make sure it is nice and snug to give it that look that you're going for. So once you find the end of where you want the pieces to be, because you're going to do this in several sections, going up, down, staggering them however way you want, because you can make it custom to how you like. And you're just going to tie it off, cut it, and then cut the bottom of the yarn to the lengths that you want. And like I said, this is super simple, super easy, and it's customizable to what you want. So now that I have all of my pieces together, I decided to shorten the stick I used just wood dowels that I had, and I just slid them right off because I didn't glue them down or anything like that. Put it on there, and then you can put something on the end. I used beads that I had from maybe Christmas or something like that, but you can just put something on the end to make sure it doesn't slip off, and it gives it another level. And this is how it turned out. Okay, another Dollar Tree DIY, because like I said, I love the Dollar Tree. All right, these are these textured bowls. I haven't really seen these again in a while too, but Dollar Tree comes and goes with their items, but I love these bowls because of the texture that they did have. And then just another little bowl from the Dollar Tree. You can use any little bowl, and then I painted it. A matte paint works great for this, I think, because it gives it a nice clean look. Filled it with paper and Dollar Tree moss, and you have a great pedestal bowl for only $2. $3 if you include the moss. Okay, this one, super simple, super easy. Dollar Tree has these candle holders, and I love them. And then I'm just going to take them, I got them in all the 3 different sizes, and just paint them with some spray paint. I don't actually put candles in mine. If you were putting candles in yours, you want to make sure you coat it with something that is fire safe, but I don't actually put candles in mine, so I just use them for decor. Okay, so now for this, Jenga blocks at the Dollar Tree, I love. If I see them, I always get a few of them, but I wanted to make a little catch-all tray with these. I've done other DIYs too with these Jenga blocks, but this one's super simple, super easy. I made a little pattern, lined them up, glued them together, put the side up on the side so it gave it a little ridge, and then I kind of did like a stone kind of marble effect with the paint. So I went in with white, then I went in with black while it was still wet so that it gave me like a muddled gray type look. Then I went back in with the white, so it gave it like that. I don't know, to me it gave a stone look. To you, let me know what you think. Does it give a stone look or just messy paint? But loved it. It was a cute little catch-all tray. Then this one's super simple. I had this tray from Home Goods. I got this tray from Home Goods. It's not really even in flat, but if you wanted to, you can make this kind of like a Lazy Susan type turntable thing. I had this table from Five and Below, so you would just attach it kind of like a Lazy Susan type way, put the little spinny thing in the middle there, and then you would have a Lazy Susan table. I didn't do that. I just took it and glued it to the top, so it's a cute little side table. Because it was uneven, there was a gap there, so if you don't want the gap, what you're going to need to do is take you some good glue and put it around the edge and then clamp it so that it lines up smooth with it. But like I said, I just wanted the table to be just a cute little side table that I can, hold things in. So I just glued the middle of it, weighed it down, and then I had a simple, quick, and easy little side table reusing a tray that I had from the Dollar Tree and this side table that I had got from Five and Below. Okay, now another simple DIY using this bowl was from Target and the other bowl was from the Dollar Tree, but you can use two bowls from the Dollar Tree. It doesn't matter, but you just glue them together, and it's another pedestal bowl, which is real simple. Spray painted. The spray paint was kind of glossy, so I went in there with some regular paint so that it didn't have, that gloss look to it, and just, dabbed it around. Kind of gave it a little bit of texture, but I just wanted to really take away the gloss. And this is how it turned out. Okay, another dupe. This was a picture frame from the Dollar Tree, but I saw one online and it was rather expensive for this marble type picture frame. So I said, okay, we can do something like it, because you can paint your marble. There's so many different ways to make faux marble now. You can use the contact paper, all the different things, but I just did it with paint. So I just taped off a section where I wanted the gold from the Dollar Tree frame to show through, went in with the paints, did one side white, and the other side I painted black. Well, not totally black. I mixed white and black together, kind of gave it that muddled look so that it started out with a marble type stone look. And then if you want to paint marble effect, okay, so I had first tried to be quick. You can't be quicker than paint sometimes, especially when you're doing that thin of a line. But I tried to be quick and do the little veining, but then you're going to go back and feather it out. You can't let it dry, because if you let it dry, it doesn't feather out when you come in with the other brush over it. So if you're going to do it in sections. Don't do it all at once. But I did that, then I came in with the gray. So I'm just really layering on these colors, but you can see this one I only did a couple pieces at a time and then came in and feathered it, because you'll get that look if you go in right away. But don't let it dry, because you won't be able to do that. Okay, so have I said that enough? I've said it enough. Don't let it dry. Do it right away. And then this is how it turned out. So this one is a rope bowl using Dollar Tree items. After playing around with this in my head and trying to figure out how I could have done it better, I wanted it to look something like that. But after playing around with it, you can't use the Dollar Tree rope. I was thinking about going back and sewing it. If I would have used the clothesline rope that I used before, it would have been a little more sturdier, because you can see this rope is cute, but it has, it's a little limp. So, but it still came out cute. It just didn't come out the way that I wanted it to come out. But I just made a base and then started to build up. So once I had it as wide as I wanted it to be, I came and I started stacking it. So I don't know if you can really see from here, but I'm putting it on top of the final row. So not to the side, but on top of the final row. And then for the base, I just used a bowl. If you want that more straight look that the other bowl had, you might want to use a cardboard tube or something like that, because then it'll be straight up and it'll be like a rope pedestal bowl when you're done. But this gave me more of a antique type, farmhouse type vibe. I don't know. But So once you're done with both pieces, so I made the base and then I had the top, I put them together, I glued them, and then I didn't want that exact color, so then I came in with some white paint, and then I did dab it too with some brown paint after that, and this is how it came out. Okay, so this is a dupe as well. These were jewelry holders, like wall jewelry holders that I saw, and they were rather expensive. I went down to the hardware store and I got these pieces. I didn't cut them or anything. They came perfect size. One was a little thin, and that's going to be the ledge, and then the other two are going to be the base because I'm making two different jewelry holders. So these two I put together. You're going to butt them up to the end. I used wood glue. You could nail them. You could use a different type glue, but wood glue is strong. It works well. It is great. So I just took a good amount of wood glue, and then I lined them up together and then clamped them, let them dry. You're going to let them dry for as long as they need to dry. You don't want to rush this part of the project, because I think that's what people use, a lot of hot glue and different things like that, because it does dry quicker, but the wood glue is super strong. It stays great. So once that was done, I went in and I stained it. I had another little dowel stick there that I'm going to be using also on the jewelry holders. And then I have these little hooks that I'm going to be using, because that way you can hang your necklaces, you can hang your different things. And because this wood is so soft, didn't have to pre-drill any holes or anything like that. These went in super easy with just a turn. So I just use my hands to do this. So you don't really need any tools to do this project except for the clamps. But you can, if you're really crafty, just tie it together, and let it dry. But I took and I spaced out the hooks, did all along the bottom, and then I put a hook on each side so that the dowel could go in, because you're going to use that to hang different things on these jewelry holders. The other one has the ledge, and then I also put the hooks at the bottom. Again, just eyeballing how I spaced them out, and this is how they looked. They look, the stain, I love the stain on these. And then you're going to just take and put something on the back to hang them, because you want to hang them to your wall. So you're just going to take and put something on the back to hang them, spacing it out so that it's nice and even. And this is how they came out. So I have these coasters, which are not coasters, they're just tiles that I got from Floor & Decor for like, I want to say less than $2. I can't remember, it was so long ago, but I got like 12 of them in a pack. And I just wanted a cute little coaster holder. So I'm just taking the Jenga blocks from the Dollar Tree, making sure they're the right size, and then making little sides so it's a cute little coaster holder. And then once I have everything, how I want it to be, I'm just going to glue them together. I'm just using hot glue for this. You could use wood glue, you could use a stronger glue, but I'm just using hot glue. Put them all together, put the little side pieces on, and then you have a cute coaster holder. Okay, so now for this one was one of my favorites of all times too. This one is a palm leaf wall decor picture artwork dupe from Pottery Barn. So I just took it, I'm doing like basically a reverse canvas, taking off the canvas part, taking off all of the staples, painting the frame, and then I'm just making a paper palm leaf. It's real simple, real easy. Folded over the paper that I wanted to use because I made both of them at the same time, cutting on an angle. And all of this I just eyeballed, but you're just going to cut, so that it looks kind of like a half circle, but with a point at the top. And then just doing an accordion kind of folding to get the palm leaf type effect. I'm thinking about doing this again because I did love it, and I wanted a bigger one, but this one was just, my first try, so it's smaller than I wanted it to be. But you fold over till you have the shape you want, kind of a paper fan, and then I just put the little bottom pieces together. I used tape. I didn't use a tape with any type of gloss on or anything like that. I used this type, I'll show you in a second. I used this type tape because it was going to be easy to paint over, but you can see the palm kind of effect there. If you want to get it more like the Pottery Barn one, you would go in deeper with the cuts so that everything come up on a nice little angle. But I just did little snippets, and then I took the tape, put everything together, and then I spray painted them. So it's real easy, real simple. I did one gold, one black, and you can lay them out, make sure everything is nice and looks the way that you want it to look. You can see, like with the cuts that I did, if you went deeper with the points, it would give it even more of a dramatic look. Ignore this painting. This was me attempting to do, I don't know. But took that, did the reverse canvas thing, and then this is how it came out. So I hope you enjoyed all of these DIYs today. If you did, check out more. I'll link some below, and I will see you in the next one.